Hey everybody, welcome back to One Seed, One World. It is finally tomato planting day. And so today I'm going to plant both determinate and indeterminate tomatoes. So if you want to come along with me on this video, and I'll show you a couple of tips about planting both.
One seed, one world, just plant it and see. One seed, one world, come and garden with me.
Okay, so planting tomatoes. Now normally when you see videos on planting tomatoes, people bring out these perfectly straight, nice little seedlings and put them carefully in the ground and everything looks beautiful. Mine not so much. Mine are a big scraggly mess because I did not up-pot them or transplant them out. I may have planted them a little too early inside. Some of them, actually all of them, grew up into the lights when I was growing them inside in the basement little greenhouses, and actually grew up past the lights. A couple of them have burn marks on the leaves because of being pushed up against the lights for so long. But it doesn't matter. I mean, they are healthy, they look good, and I think we'll be okay. So, first, let's go into the difference between determinate and indeterminate tomatoes. Determinate means that they will grow to a certain height and stop, normally about 2 to 3 feet, depending on your variety, and they will put off a set number of fruit for the season. Indeterminate means that they will just keep growing until something kills them off, whether it's a disease or frost or whatever it may be. And they will just keep producing fruit, and the vines will kind of go growing everywhere willy-nilly unless you prune them. So that brings me to the second point, which is pruning your tomatoes. With a determinate variety, say Romas, for example, is a lot of Roma, not all, but a lot of Roma types of tomatoes are determinate. You don't want to prune those because they only get so tall and then they're done. And so you want as many branches and stuff on them to produce the maximum amount of fruit that you can get off of them. With determinate or indeterminate tomatoes, those you can do pruning. And in fact, they can benefit from some pruning, probably mainly to save you a lot of heartache, because they will just, keep putting off branches, spread everywhere, and grow all over the place. And so if you prune them and train them, you can kind of help control them a little bit better, and it's not going to reduce the amount of fruit that you get, really. I mean, because they'll keep putting off new stuff and new flowers and blossoms and fruit as they go, but you can kind of train them and prune them however you want. So, determinate, prune, or determinate, don't prune, indeterminate, prune. Now, for my determinate or indeterminate, I keep getting the two mixed up here today. For my indeterminate, which are these, this year so far I've got going in this batch, I've got Mortgage Lifter and Cherokee Purple. Cherokee Purple was just an amazing, great tasting big tomato. So I recommend growing those. Now, one thing with things like Cherokee Purple, or other of these, heirloom varieties like, say, Dr. Weechee Yellow or the Mortgage Lifter, they can be more prone to diseases. And so just be aware that things like verticillium wilt and different types of blights may affect your tomatoes and might kill them off earlier. I have verticillium wilt here where I live in the soil, which is basically impossible to get rid of. So my season tends to be short for those types of tomatoes. They don't, even some years don't even make it the whole summer. I get some, but by August they start dying off. And so this year I'm mixing it up with my determinate variety, which are these. Now I know right now they don't look any different because we're still kind of in the weird seedling stage. But the variety that I'm growing for my determinate this year is a beefsteak type variety called Rutgers. I think this is Rutgers 350 or something like that. It's a hybrid, and what was basically kind of known as the Jersey tomato, the Jersey Mater. I grew up in South Jersey, and we never really talked about varieties when I was a kid. We would just go to the store in South Jersey, actually in Seoul, New Jersey. There was a place called Leddon's, if any of you are familiar with that. On, in early May, me and my dad would go there early Sunday morning, and he would get all these tomato seedlings. And I'm pretty sure, based off of the time frame and that they were a determinate variety, that they were probably the Rutgers. Rutgers was a hybrid developed probably at Rutgers University, I think. Would make sense, right? They're a hybrid that were kind of bred to be more resistant to things like verticillium wilt and those types of other wilty, blighty diseases. So I wanted to try planting them this year and see how they fare versus like my Cherokee Purple, since I struggle with that verticillium wilt thing a lot. Now, one thing that I remember as a kid, and maybe I'm misremembering, but maybe some of you that are more of the middle-aged age, tell me if this was something that you experienced. Like now when you buy your seedlings, they always come like in a little pot of dirt. But I remember my dad just getting basically bare root tomatoes that were like wrapped in wet newspaper. Did any of you experience that? If so, put it in the comments below. But it seems to me that we always just get tomatoes wrapped in wet newspaper. They didn't have any soil on them, and then we would go out and stick them in the dirt. So I don't know, but everything now, I don't know how they did that to keep the plants good, or or going through too much shock. I'll have to do some more research on that. But let's go ahead and get planting, and I'll show you a couple tips on the planting thing. Okay, so when you're first starting out with your planting, it's going to work the same for both determinate and indeterminate. I'm starting off with some of my Cherokee Purples here. I got 3. 2 of them are really good size. This little one, I'm going to see if I can save it. Probably won't put it in the ground today. I'm going to put it in, I got some topsoil, or some potting soil in this other pot here that we'll stick it in for now. So, starting off, you'll want to start them out the same. With tomatoes, you want to bury them deep. I've got my trusty Homey tool, my large size one. I'll have a link down below where you can get these. Awesome garden tool. But basically you want to dig a hole down about 2/3 of the plant depth. So you maybe, for like this one here, you'll maybe be planting it up to like that far and sink it in the ground that far. And what you'll want to do is just pinch off your bottom leaves. You can get rid of those. Don't worry, it'll grow more. And see, all this vine that's in the ground is going to put off more roots. That's the great thing about tomatoes, is that they, along these, I can't see the camera here. Let's see if I can get the lighting out here. This time of day is horrible, so I don't know how good this comes up, but if we can get there. If you can see here, the little hairy things on the Mater vine, those will all turn into roots. Any part that's touching the ground. So, bury it deep. I actually need to dig my hole a little bit deeper here, but I want to get these separated so it's ready to go in. I'm just pulling these apart. And they'll go through a little bit of transplant shock. They might look a little droopy your first few days until they get settled in. You'll want to plant your tomatoes out after all danger of frost is past your area. And with this being Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to all you mamas out there. We're past all the frost here in my area. Our last frost date was a couple of weeks ago actually, but sometimes, you know, like the other night it was 40 some degrees or low 40s, and so I wanted to wait this year. Anyway, with both your determinate and your indeterminate, same way, pick off the bottom leaves and then put it deep down in your hole, and then you can add some water in there, or you can water afterwards, up to you, and then fill in the dirt. Now there's also two different ways that you can dig your deep hole to put your tomatoes in. Some people will dig just straight deep the way that I'm doing here. Other people will dig more of a trench and lay the tomato down and then kind of bend it up sideways so that just the top's sticking out. Either way is your preference. They both work. The reason why I prefer going straight down is sometimes in the past when I've tried to bend or, you know, get more vine down there, I end up breaking it. And so I find for me, this is less chance of me breaking the stem and either causing it to die or giving it a much longer recovery period. But, you know, it depends on how long your vines are, how supple and bendy they are, if you prefer doing the trench method. And also put in the comments below which way that you have done, whether it's the trench or just a deep hole. Okay, a couple last notes about when you're growing your tomatoes, where to plant them and whatnot. You want some good soil that's well drained. You know, you want to keep them watered, but not so that they're soggy. You just want good soil. Like once they get established, you can probably water them once a week if you're not getting rain. Trellising. Now, with your indeterminates, because they just keep growing and growing, you're definitely going to want some trellising. I use this cattle panels. They last forever. They're super sturdy. You can grow all kinds of stuff on them, not just tomatoes, but also use them as support for peppers and even smaller squash. Like I've grown butternut squash up them, and acorn squash and those kinds of things, so they'll support a lot. But in regards to your tomatoes, you want some trellising for your indeterminate. Now, determinate really depends on the variety and how heavy they get with tomatoes. They might not need support, but they could probably do with some sort of little bit of staking, or if you have a decent tomato cage. I know a lot of tomato cages that get sold at the big box store. They're like little thin wire things. They don't stick in the ground very well, and they tend to fall over sometimes. So you can always, you know, use other types of just wooden stakes, and then you can tie your tomato to it to help give it a little bit more support, your tomato plant. So you may or may not need staking or cages for a determinate. You'll just have to determine on how your plant is going. So that's kind of it. I need to get the rest of these tomatoes in here this morning so that I can go visit my mama for Mother's Day and take her some homemade sour bread and cookies. So I hope whatever's going on in your neck of the woods is working out fantastic for you, and that you're having a great 2025 season. I appreciate that you were here with me again today, hanging out, putting in some tomatoes, and I hope that you're planting some tomatoes this year. Also tell me in the comments what varieties you're growing. I still have some more seeds I want to start, even though it's later, but they might find some places for them, or maybe sell some seedlings, I don't know. But have you started planting yours yet? All right, guys, we will see you again soon. Have a great day. Namaste.